Hey guys, welcome back to American Adventure. This is going to be episode 5, and we're going to get back into things by working on the area off to the right, if you're looking from the lagoon of the Boston Harbor, or I think Crossroads as I'm calling it. This is going to be our Great Frontier area, so I'm probably going to call it Great Frontier. I don't want to call it Frontierland because that's already been used, so I'm just going to call it Great Frontier. And we're going to build a normal type of Big Thunder Mountain type of roller coaster with the mine train. I'm going to be using the Big Thunder Mountain train mod because I like the trains. They're pretty close to the actual Big Thunder Mountain, so I'm using that mod. That's basically it, and I'm just focused on working on just making the mountain, and then we're going to work on some other key areas in the vicinity for the Great Frontier area. This area should be, I think, it might be the largest, the second largest land in American Adventure. Because also in this land will be a river rapids that will probably be built later. I haven't even started on that yet, but I have plans to build it toward the top of the map. I might have to tweak the lake, maybe make it a little bit smaller to kind of fit in some things that I still want to incorporate. But this land is just kind of to showcase off of the Great Frontier, gold mining, things like that. So this is like the 1800s. So each land should represent a time period in American history. That's usually what I'm going for. So the Great Frontier will be in the 1800s, 1850s. And same thing with the front area is Crossroads. That's the 1700s. Same thing with the Independence Hall, 1700s as well. So I think you get the idea that every land has a date attached to it to kind of help it out telling its story. So here I'm just going to build right now the layout of said roller coaster. The roller coaster's name, I might not keep it. It's right now called Titan Mining Company. So Titan is the name I want to use. I think it would be funny to have Hercules TNT to kind of bounce off of that because it's first called Titan. So I will see if it sticks. I can still change the name. So nothing's concrete necessarily. Again, names are really hard for any type of creative thing. Names are just stupidly hard to kind of think of, and so things can change, which is okay to kind of maybe either better represent the ride's main purpose or to better tell the story through the title. I don't know, but this is kind of like Big Thunder Mountain. I'm not really stretching out my imagination here. I'm just making a little bit different version. Instead of 3 chain lifts, it has 2. The difference also is that there's a geyser field that's going to be out in the water, so I'm using the lake as our main connector for all the other lands. So the lake is kind of your connection between, let's say, the Boston Harbor from the airfield to maybe the farming area. Every little land has a connection to the Freedom Lake. I think I called it Freedom Lake in the first episode. I don't remember. I have to check my notes, but I think I called it Freedom Lake because that seems appropriate for an American-themed map. So here are the layouts done, but not finalized, because this layout I think changes in some key area, kind of stretch some sections of track. I added some more bunny hops to give it more excitement. Mine trains are really hard to get their intensity up higher than medium. So I try to get it up to high to try to make this ride more of a thrill-seeking ride for thrill seekers, but it didn't work out. So it still sits at medium with a high, really high excitement, because when you add mountains and rocks, that shoots up your excitement rating to the roof because of scenery. So I try to make this more intense ride. Didn't happen. I think right now the most intense ride in my park is Dogfight, the inverted coaster. Maybe it's not, actually. I think that's actually medium as well. See, I might have to focus on making another coaster in the park that would be more high intensity. Or not. I might skip coasters and do more like dark ride stuff, because ever since we got the new DLC, we have some options to do like opening doors and doing effects for dark rides. And I do want to do a dark ride for a couple areas, like for the New York area I want to do a car dark ride, and then I want to do some type of dark ride for the farming area. But for the western area, no dark ride, just a mining coaster, which is appropriate, and a river rapids. I want to do a proper, like, realistic, somewhat realistic river rapids. So something like, let's say, like Grizzly River Run at Disney's California Adventure, or maybe like a river rapids like from Knott's Berry Farm. It's called it was called Bigfoot Rapids. Now it's called Calico River Rapids. What other rapids do I know? I don't know. I haven't been on much rapids because California only has a set few. But again, California has a lot of water rides too, because we are burning up here. It's totally fine. We're on fire all the time. We have a whole bunch of water rides. It's all cool. So, yeah. What was I talking about? I should be talking about what's being shown on the screen. Like, I'm building rocks out of shapes and regular rocks. You guys seen me do this before with my Big Thunder Mountain series. So nothing different. Oh, well, there was one difference. I did use basalt pillars to kind of add a different texture to this rock. I wanted to make this a different environment. So I went for more of a what's it called? There's another canyon. It's not Bryce Canyons, because Bryce Canyons is like Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland, but a different type of canyon to kind of give it that different texture. And there's my trusty there, a little skeleton to help me with scaling, so I don't have to make the tunnel so, you know, steep or too small so that guests don't walk through. So here I'm starting out with the actual basalt pillar idea to kind of give it a different feeling and texture, kind of just go from there. This land was kind of messed up in its layout because I kind of wasn't thinking when I was building the coaster, and this was kind of poor planning on my part. But again, sometimes poor planning sometimes turns into a miracle. So in this case, I do like that I have the coaster up against the water, and the pathway that leads you to like the other lands kind of snake through the mountain. You kind of get an interaction with the coaster a lot with the pathways. And I get to build, well, you won't see it in this video, you'll probably see it in another video after this, because I did get back to work after the new update happened for the new Booms and Blooms DLC. I get to build like two separate towns on either side of like the mountain to kind of showcase that the town kind of grew around it, and then I want to build some harbor sooner or later. I'll show you like some pre-planned stuff in a live through. Why do I call it live through? It's called a live play. I'm gonna call it live play. I'm so bad with words, but it's okay. Continuing on. More cylinders and more basalt pillars, and then borders and pillars to simulate wooden structures to kind of help it out, and then more cylinder discs, all that cool stuff. This is just your normal mountain building for me. Nothing like... I haven't discovered anything new yet, but I will. I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to discover something new in like how to build mountains eventually. Like, because we got a whole bunch of new shapes recently, so they're all like 45 degrees or diagonals, and that really helps in like making mountains or making things more unique. And so I'm really excited to use those. I used some of them. Did I use any new shapes recently in this video? No, because I recorded this way before the DLC, and it's been sitting on my hard drive for a while now, because I've been kind of working on other projects and things like that. So I'm glad I finally get this video out, and then I can finally start working on more of the Great Frontier area, and then I'll start working on, I think, the farms next, because I want to work on some dark ride stuff. So I have a dark ride idea for the farming area, like some dark ride to showcase how farming's done in America or something. Maybe something like that basic, maybe a dairy farm or something, who knows. I haven't really thought it through yet, but I have some ideas that are kind of just brewing. This is just, I should be talking about the station in front of us that you're just watching me just kind of mess around with walls. So just a very basic building. Nothing. What could I talk about the building? How to make it not symmetrical, to make it look unique. So having outcrops of buildings and different styles of roofing. I find it the hangar. Well, these are not the hangar roofs. These are close to the hangar roofs. These are the metal roofs. I find them very useful as wooden roofs sometimes, even though they do shine in the light somewhat. But I find them cool to be wooden, or sometimes even just metal rustic roofs. And I just kind of built a very simple one tower type of station. I didn't want to copy Big Thunder Mountain station because that one's a little bit more complicated in its state, and it also was designed for 2 stations. So in this, I can't do that. I could have made a. Oh, I could make an invitation though. If I made another coaster in the area, another land, I could do a dual station just to, make it interesting. Oh well, I'm blue skying as I talk about things. It's so funny. What else? I used some pieces from the adventure pack to kind of do the brick type of roofing. I think that's a really cool technique because I pulled that from Silverette when he did some of the. Which map was he on? I think he was on Hickory Hill. Hickory Hill, he did some things like that too. So I've been using that techniques ever since as well. So that's kind of how it goes. Over here, just putting some trees down, the old trees. The new trees, by the way, are phenomenal. So you'll see some of the new trees in place when I do the live tour of what's actually been done. It's been a while since I recorded this time lapse that a lot of things have changed in the Great Frontier area. So you'll see some of that change. But yeah, the new trees really brings out different stuff into how this game is now portrayed, and it's really, really lovely. Like we have an oak tree. That's more like an American tree, oak, and or like we have a mesquite tree, like very pointy leaves, more like a Western-looking tree. I love that tree; it's like one of my favorites. So that's one of those like, awesome trees. So I did do a tree overhaul actually, right when the DLC dropped. Well, I had the DLC early because I worked on the maps for the trailer. I worked on the trailer maps, and I had the DLC early, so I put it upon myself like, okay, might as well work on some of the trees early, so that I can get American Adventure kind of set up and ready to go. And so that's what I did. So I just kind of cleared out some of the trees in like the front area, and some of the other trees in like the Victory Field. I kind of spruced it up in amongst with like the regular blobby tree, the Sakura tree, and the maple tree. So those trees actually still match pretty well with now the new trees that we got. And so it just kind of goes. I kind of just did a tree overhaul, and it really looks cool. Like this park, I think, is going to be. At this point, this park is my favorite right now so far to work on. I mean, I thought Astroland was like my favorite. No, I'm wrong. This is actually one of my favorite maps to work on right now. It's more grounded in reality, because the Astroland park was more about sci-fi and making things up. This I had to kind of follow like actual real stuff, like how architecture is built for like some of the colonial areas, how Western buildings are kind of built, and I'm kind of just going off of that. So I think it's pretty cool. Here comes some of my Switch ideas I did, because I also noticed I didn't build a maintenance shed for my trains. So I did a very simple track that comes out, stops, and then the rest of it turns into props to simulate the track, and it just kind of ends into it. And there you go. I have now a switch track for my maintenance area. I'm going to build a very quick maintenance shed in the back here. I think this works well because it's really in the back near the maintenance area. Because in this park, the objective is to do more realism stuff. So, and this map is also like, I think 2 times bigger than Astroland. So doing that, I have now more places to do like backstage stuff. Like if you've seen already, I did a huge, don't want to curse, but huge, big, I don't know, what was it? Maintenance building for dogfight, so my inverted coaster. So I did that. It actually worked out really well, and there's more backstage area for the back of the Soaring Over America building, so things like that. So I'm focused on doing all that little stuff, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to get all that stuff situated and kind of working, and to get things. Yeah, there's nothing like really crazy going on here. Just figuring out the last 3 track sections. Even though I have like what 4 trains that run on this track, I only have 3 parking lots. It's kind of not realistic enough, but it's close enough in my eyes. I'm not really gonna hurt myself on like trying to make sure that everything is realistic, because again, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter making an actual maintenance bay for your trains, because it doesn't actually do anything for gameplay wise. But aesthetically, it looks cool. Makes it more grounded in reality. Again, this is kind of like a little model that I'm building, and my model doesn't have to be that accurate. It can be about 85 to 90% accurate, and I'm happy with that actually. So this is just a maintenance bay, maybe that actually don't work on the trains while it is in running. So maybe the rest of the trains kind of sit in the station or sit outside and get covered up. Who knows? Yeah, I'm just doing some tie work with the border pieces. From moving forward onto this project, I'm going to not use Construction Anarchy, because Construction Anarchy kind of got null and void in a kind of. So I'm going to rephrase. We got some quality of life changes for shapes and for some items, and I was talking to one of the developers, and he was able to give some of the effects to the shapes and some items like Construction Anarchy, so they're pretty precise. So I don't need Construction Anarchy for shape stuff anymore, but it is useful for like wall stuff. But I'm going to keep walls on the grid because that's kind of how the game's designed. So I'm going to try to keep it as close as possible. Now this game's now coming to the point where this map's going to be more like less mods. I'll still have mods like the train mod, the support mod, maybe another train mod that I find suitable for my American adventure. I will use so. Right now I'm going to do the rest of the build without Construction Anarchy and see how it goes. I did build a Saloon recently. If you saw it on the Reddit, you probably did, or on the Discord. I already built a Saloon. That was all without Construction Anarchy. That's all with the new shapes and the new placement pieces that we got, and the quality of life stuff. So I'll probably show you the... Yeah, I'll show you the Saloon in this video. But then the next video will be about this, me working on the Saloon. I'll describe how I built that. But I'll just show you a little sneak peek maybe and tell you some plans coming up for the area, because there's a lot of ideas that I have in my head. Some will be nixed, some will be not. We will see. So here I just did some more rocks, added a wall to kind of prevent people from seeing out to the parking lot, or I think that's where the water park's going to go maybe. I don't know. Huh. Plans can change, and that's okay. I made a walkway for employees to get to the maintenance shed, so that if you're told to go there, you walk up through the steps through underneath the station. Did I put? I think I put a staff room underneath the maintenance shed just to kind of give it some motion to get like guests. Oh no, not guests. Employees are kind of just walking around it, kind of working out there. Yeah, this is basically the it of this time lapse. We're almost to the end of it. What else could I talk about? Nothing like... What else is coming up? More Parkitect University videos are coming up. Some other projects might be coming up, depending if I have time, because school just started again, and I kind of have a lot on my plate, so I'm gonna like slow it down just a tad. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop here, and I want to meet you guys in the live tour of like what I actually finished and what some of the new trees look like in place. And yeah, well, I'll also talk about like future plans about the Great Frontier, and I will meet you guys on the other side. See you in a second. Okay, here we are in Great Frontier, and so I want to show you around some of the completed things for this land. Land's not done yet, so this will probably be a two-parter. I'll probably, well, maybe it's a three-parter because River Rapids still has to happen. So, I built this thing over here. This is just a not shopping center. This is a restaurant. So I think hot dog stands in here and something like that. Let me go look. As I click V or push the V key, and there it goes. Oh, it's corn dogs and soft drinks. Cool. So that's over here. And then see, here's the entrance of the Titan Mining Company. And then there's a safety sign, and the queue line kind of just wraps around here, goes through this little rock structure into the queue line, into the station. And here is a train ready to dispatch into the first chain lift as it goes. So each train is colored for a different color, like yellow, blue, I think a red, green engines, stuff like that. I added this switch here to give it some more interest. I should put some boxes here or something to make it more interesting. We will see. Okay, so here's the full look of the mountain. How much I put into it with all the basalt pillars and rocks and shapes. You can already see that some of the new trees are already put in. They look really, really nice. Over here is the backstage area with the maintenance shed, and we got a new truck prop. And then I built some more backstage area. I made some transformers back here to kind of give it some more realism. And again, you can see all the new trees that I put in also as I line this area into more backstage. And then I did some trigger stuff with some geysers, because now the geysers can go on and off. So if we actually sit here and see where's a train, I need a train to go up the chain lift. Oh, there's a green train. So we're gonna wait for that train to come around here. And then you can see more rock and more trees. Over here's the saloon. Kind of show you a little bit. This is what the next video is going to be about, is the saloon. And then let's wait for this train to drop. Some of the track change, like there's a added bunny hop there, or a airtime hill. Some more double up, I think it's called, and then a double down right here, where it just kind of just goes down to down. And then there a trigger on the first geyser, and then off to the other three. So I really like that the triggers are a thing. It makes this ride more dynamic in its thing. So I really love that. I might do some mining explosions maybe up here, if it triggers and then some smoke happens, it bellows out and the train drops. Maybe I'll do it. That might be a later thing. We will see, because that just, yeah, it can happen, maybe. What else is here? Some pre-planning for some of the rest of the village back here. Not yet finalized. This Steamboats from my Silver Valley diorama. I might change up the Steamboat a little bit, maybe change the stacks a little bit to make them a little bit more interesting, maybe more unique. Probably gonna keep the paddle the same. I kind of like the idea of having boats in the water for this lake, because I have the gearing destroyer ship over here, and then I want later right here some type of colonial sailing ship. We will see. I've been saying that a lot lately, but I think this project's turning out pretty well. So this is the final look of the mine train ride for the Great Frontier. Later we'll be in this area patched out, is probably where the River Rapids is gonna go, and then expands into Coney Island. This is why I have all these Coney Island, or these carnival rides here, into New York, and then off to Ced Reyes Farms for the bountiful farms that I'm going to build. But I think this park is turning out pretty well. So yeah, I'm going to leave you guys here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of American Adventure, and thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.